Can I ask you if you were able to speak with the White House and what was the end result of the conversation about the stock ban bill?
Yeah, well, I was saying last night on Jesse, we talked a little bit about that. We had a good conversation. The president and I had a really good.
Do you think he'll publicly support it?
I will be back. I think the president wants to get a stock ban.
Senator, what did you think of the decision to pass that legislation banning lawmakers from trading individual stocks?
I'd like to keep it really simple for America. Treat everyone equally and don't trade stock if you're a member here. I mean, that's what I vote for, that's what I support, and if someone else disagrees with me, that's fine. But again, treat everybody equally and don't trade.
Should it apply to the president and vice president as well?
Again, that's what I say. Include everybody, treat everybody equally.
Do you like the concept of his bill?
I haven't seen the particulars of the bill, so.
Do you expect that this is going to get a vote on the floor?
I hope. I mean, listen, what the White House wanted was that the president, the vice president, not be covered. They're not. The offices are, but it'll be the next office holders. In fairness, we did the same thing for Joe Biden. We passed this last year, and we set the date out so that it would be the next president who had to comply. So we've done that again here. So Trump and Vance are not covered, but all the members of Congress are. And it's not a perfect bill, but it's pretty tough.
I think that if it were a good bill, they would apply it to Donald Trump. The fact that they're excluding Donald Trump and he's going to be exempt from it probably means it's not a very good bill. So I think it's unwise and not well thought out. Think about it in our history. Some of the richest people in our country were president. George Washington may well have been the richest man in the country at the time. Some say he's the richest president ever. And people like that own a lot of stuff, have a lot of businesses. I think we should be applauding and honoring and wanting people to serve. Look, Mitt Romney and I didn't agree on everything, but he was a thoughtful person. He was a very wealthy person. He brought business acumen. I think you want to bring people like that. You're going to deter a lot of people like that from coming, not just banning them from owning stock, but saying they have to sell all of their businesses. I think it's over the top and not well thought out.
About Trump's criticism of Hawley's bill that passed out of the committee. Is Trump on the right side of this? Is Hawley on the right side? What's
Trump's
happening?
on the right side. This was a bill that Senator Hawley teamed up with the Democrats to attack Trump. Here's a guy that went through Russiagate, went through an indictment, went through conviction, went through all this stuff, and then this is just a new bill to go target the president.
He's exempt though, right? Because he's the sitting
he's not.
president.
He can't
Vance
trade.
and
Now, first
and
off, we got to change the bill right when we sit down. That's not the way to legislate. So my understanding, because the Democrats said, "Oh, we covered Trump. Okay, he can't trade." Okay, well, I mean, first off, let's focus on what the American public wants. Make sure Congress doesn't profit off of inside information, like Nancy. That's why I had a simple amendment. Let's understand what Nancy Pelosi did. I mean, she seemed to do pretty darn well.
Pelosi came out in support of the legislation, Hawley's bill. What do you make of her supporting it after all the years of her husband doing a lot of trading on his own, and she kind of distanced herself from it, saying it wasn't her doing the trading? What's your take on that?
I would call it hypocritical. I thought it was interesting that all the Democrats, together with Senator Hawley, voted against Rick Scott's excellent amendment, which would have asked GAO to do an investigation of how did she get so wealthy. If they really want to get to the bottom of that, they would have supported that amendment. The fact that they voted against it speaks volumes.
What did you think about the amendment that would require that study of Pelosi's stock history and her husband?
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, I'm all for not just studies, but if there's been wrongdoing there, that's an enormous amount of money. Then I'm all for potential prosecution. But that would have gutted the bill. I mean, that was an attempt. Senator Scott made really clear he's opposed to this bill, and he was attempting to kill the bill. It would have gutted all the bill, taken all of its key provisions out. We would have been left with just some study. And frankly, I think we're beyond time for study. I think we know what the problem is. The problem is members of Congress who are getting rich off of information the public doesn't have. We just ought to ban that, and that's what this does. This is a tough bill. I mean, you heard my colleagues complaining about it. It's a tough bill.
The idea is good. The execution is not as good on it. So I want to be able to see a bill that's actually fixed and that actually works. This bill bans things like cryptocurrency, digital currency, says you can't use stablecoin, which is basically the equivalent of a dollar. There's no real investment in a stablecoin. You can't use stablecoin. It blocks out qualified blind trusts. which are protected stock transactions over there. You can't see by law on it. So there's some gaps and some problems in the way that it's written. And in my interaction with Senator Hawley is to say, hey, let's figure out how to be able to write this in a way that it's going to be airtight, it's going to work. I serve as the chairman of the ethics committee, so I'm going to have to enforce this. I want to make sure that it actually works well, it's enforceable, and that we can actually apply it and to be able to tell all Americans there are members of Congress that trade stocks. That's pretty easy. It's a straightforward idea, but we got to be able to clean up the language of this particular version of it to make sure it's right.
Do you foresee the stock ban bill getting changed in the House, or do you think?
I don't know. Listen, hey, I said in there, like, I want to get this done. Like, I want to get this banned. So I will work with anybody. I said to my colleagues, like, if you've got good faith changes you want to make that you think will make this stronger, I'm all for it. I will do it. What I will not do, though, is consent to stuff that's going to kill the bill. And I've seen this for 6 years now. Members campaign on banning stocks, and then they get here and they're like, well, this isn't the right time. Or maybe let's do it later. Or let's never do it. Or you heard today, let's have another hearing. We've had hearings for years. I mean, your point about Pelosi. Is there a person alive who doesn't know that she's gotten rich, mega rich, off trades? I mean, if you are, like, you're not sentient. So this is time to act. And I'll work with anybody to change it, make it better, and get it passed. But this is ultimately why we made the changes with the president and vice president. Listen, I want something he can sign. So it doesn't do any good to pass bills that nobody's going to sign. Like, I want something that'll pass and that he can sign. And I think we took a step forward on that today.
Senator Susan Collins, our Maine, is pushing against a pair of ads from a group linked to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, DNY, that suggests she has enriched herself with stocks over her nearly 3 decades in Washington. The Majority Forward PAC, a political action committee that is affiliated with the Schumer-linked Senate Majority PAC, launched a $700,000 ad campaign against Collins, who is eyeing a bid for a 6th term in the Senate, but has yet to officially launch her campaign. The pair of ads, one a 30-second spot titled Greed, the other a 15-second spot titled This Life, target Collins for her opposition to a congressional stock trading ban by Senator Josh Hawley, our Missouri. However, her office argued that through images of private jets and Collins in glamorous attire, the ads suggested that she has personally enriched herself through trades while working as a lawmaker. The ads accuse Collins of the worst kind of greed, using insider information to trade stocks. She's opposing a bipartisan bill that would ban members of Congress from trading stocks, the narrator said. Our representatives should be serving the people of Maine, not lining their own pockets. While Collins does not directly own any stocks, according to disclosure filings, her husband Tom Daffrin does. However, a trade has not been made since last year, and her office argued that Daffrin's holdings are made by a third-party advisor. Senator Collins has never bought, sold, or owned any shares of stock during her entire Senate tenure, her office told Fox News Digital. Tom Daffrin's investment decisions are made exclusively by a third-party advisor without his consultation. No individual stocks have been bought or sold from his account in almost 3 years. Majority Forward spokesperson Lauren French fired back in a statement to Fox News that the ads go after Collins for her refusal to support a stock trading ban for members of Congress and their families. Bipartisan legislation that 95% of Mainers support. Nowhere in the ad does it say Senator Collins regularly buys, sells, or owns stocks, though her husband does. But if she is still confused, we'll be happy to continue airing it throughout Maine, so both she and her constituents can understand how her opposition to ending stock trading is enabling her colleagues to benefit from their positions of power, French said. Senate Democrats are hoping that their prized candidate, Governor Janet Mills, D. Maine, jumps into the race to take on Collins. However, Mills, who is term limited, has not made an official announcement on her plans, and the Democratic primary has fast become crowded. Collins told the Bangor Daily News that she did not support Hawley's bill last month, and instead argued that there should be more enforcement of already existing rules that bar members from insider trading. The White House similarly panned the bill, which would have included a carve-out for both President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, and all Republicans on the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Accountability Committee, except for Hawley, voted against the bill. Collins is not a member of that committee. However, Trump has since warmed to the idea of a congressional stock trading ban and lauded the push by Representative Anna Paulina, R. Florida, as a massive win on Truth Social.